Hello, Kayla Riemenschneider here, and I'm here with my friend Josiah Vitalis with the KCBand. Today we're going to be talking about the backstories about some of the KCBand's compositions.
And with us today is Kevin Carlson, or the KC of the KC Band. And we're going to learn about songwriting and different songs that have been meaningful to you over the years. And what's the first one for us today?
Yeah, well, today the first one is going to be a blues song. Can you tell us about that?
Yep, so the very first song we're looking at today is called simply The Blues, and the interesting story behind this is an old story. It goes back to the 1980s, and I saw a classic film called The Adventures of Babysitting. And in The Adventures of Babysitting, the babysitting character and their kids, they're running away from bad guys, and they they take a back alley entrance into a blues club, winding up on stage, and they try to get back, and the musicians say, nope, nobody leaves here without singing the blues. And it's a hilarious scene, and it totally inspired the composition. The original title was the Polk County Fairground Blues. At the time, I was playing regularly at the Polk County Fairground, and so we called it the Polk County Fairground Blues. Since then, it's become an audience favorite. The KC Band ends every show with this particular song, and we tailor it for whatever venue we're at. So it could be the Dallas House Blues, it could be whatever kind of blues we want it to be.
Is that the same? I'm assuming, is that the same as the OHS Variety Show? Blues?
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
OHS Variety Club.
Okay. That's where we've heard it. Yeah.
It's all the same. We just tailor it for every venue that we're at.
That's great. All right. Our second song for the day is one that has special significance to you. And do you want to tell us why?
Absolutely. So I like to tell audiences that this is my favorite song in the whole world, and that is absolutely correct. And also that sounds conceited because I happen to have written it. But the reason it's my favorite song in the whole world is it's about my favorite person in the entire world, and that is my wife, Marcia Ann. A few years back, not having a lot of money and not having, wondering what we could get for her birthday, I thought, I'll write her a song. I know. And at the same time, I'd also been trying really hard to write something more upbeat. I'd sit down and I'd try to write a song that people, could move to, dance to, and they just always came out ballads. So I was just bound and determined that this was going to be one that would get people up and moving, and I think I actually accomplished that feat, and at the same time was able to express just the little bit of our courtship story. The song itself talks about growing up in the 1970s in St. Croix River Valley and just the fantastic things that we were able to do and the fun that we had. And got to share some of those things as well as do an upbeat song.
So, and that brings us to our final song. And I've heard it has quite the backstory. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, this last song is called No More Lemmings. And so the backstory, this is an interesting story, but it's also, a little bit of a poignant story. It goes back a long time. I was doing my student teaching, so this tells you how long ago it was. I was doing my student teaching, and I was working at a middle school in St. Paul, and I came across something. I was young and naive and didn't really know a whole lot, but one of my students gave me, sat down and during a conference that we were having, mentioned that she was having some thoughts of self-harm. And, I wasn't exactly sure what to do with that. Unfortunately, I was able to speak with with my cooperating teacher and get her some help right away. And I was introduced to just the whole concept and idea of young people wanting to do self-harm. And so I started doing some research into it, and I was just absolutely horrified to understand that suicide is the leading cause of young people, adolescents, which makes sense to a certain extent. Health-wise, usually they're healthy, so when there is mortality, it's usually because of self-harm. So I started looking into that a little bit. I also discovered just a phenomenon that just really blew me away, and this was happening at the time, and it was getting quite a bit of headlines and publicity throughout the country, where there would be a young person who would take their own life, and just the really sad thing was that there would be copycat suicides. There would be their friends or people that had heard about this would take their own lives in the same way, in the same fashion that the original person had done it. And this was just heartbreaking to me as I'm reading about this and discovering this, and all I could think of, was, lemmings.
Yes, because they follow each other.
Headlong rush to their own destruction.
Yeah.
And, all these thoughts were going through my head, and that evening, quite by coincidence, that evening, there was a concert. I went to a concert. I went to see the Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, and Tom Petty at the Metrodome. Now, the sound was horrible. This is like the absolute worst thing ever. The concert was supposed to start at 7, so I got there at 8:30 because I knew the Dead would start, and I wanted to avoid the Dead at all costs. Unfortunately, they were still playing when I got there, so I had to endure them for a while, and then Tom Petty came on, and he sang "Refugee," the song "Refugee," which is a great song. It's a great Tom Petty tune.
Yes.
And something about that tune and everything else just resonated with me. And I went back and that song inspired No More Lemmings as far as the little bit of the format and the feel and everything else. But the rest of the words just kind of came. Speaking about really a very serious topic, and one that concerns me to this day, and so that was really the story behind No More Lemmings, and that was the title song on the album that I recorded, and along with these other songs that we talked about today as well. All right, well, that's all the time we have today. I just want to thank Caleb Riemenschneider and Josiah Vitalis for hosting this, and for all the work that they've done, and for all the just the enjoyable projects we've worked on together over the years. I consider these guys to be good friends and just quality human beings. If you like what you saw, would love to have you subscribe to KC Adventures Worldwide, and we'll be doing some upcoming videos as well.
Yes.
For my upcoming trip to Vietnam, leaving in less than 60 days now to head back there once again.
Yes, a lot of editing coming up.
And I'm also leaving on a cruise in about 7 days, so we're going to be in Jamaica, so...
Interesting.
Well, that's
cool.
going to be one of the stops. So I'm thinking
cool.
I have to do something in Jamaica.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
we're on the cruise anyway. So Caleb, we can be looking for some.
I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, KC Adventures Worldwide signing off.